can be amiss that Caesar and his Senate must redress.
King in all but name.
Caesar has defeated Pompey and returns to Rome.
He has ended the civil wars because he has Pompey's bloodline.
What can be avoided, whose end is purposed by the mighty gods? Yet Caesar shall go forth.
On the festival of the Lupercal, a sacred foot race in which mighty Antony is most likely to win, shall be both peak and trough.
A crown within reach, yet enemies nearer. Yon Cassius has a lean and hungry look. He thinks too much.
Yet Caesar has no rivals. He has many foes.
The Senate fears they will lose their power, not least the influential Cassius, who has long opposed Caesar.
Forget not in your speed, Antonius, to mark their
Brutus,
prudence.
most famous of senators, best beloved of Caesar.
When March is wasted 15 days, Caesar shall know his friend. Beware the Ides of March.
Hence! Home, you idle creatures, get you home! Is this a holiday? What? Know you not, being mechanical? You will not walk upon a labouring day without the sign of your profession. Speak, what trade art thou?
Oh, nay, sir, I beseech you, be not out with me. Oh, yet, if you be out, mason, may I mend you?
What meanest thou by that? Mend me, thou saucy fellow.
Why, sir, cobble you.
He's a copper.
Cobble me.
Yes, sir, so I can wear the men's shoes out, and so that I may find myself in some more work. But indeed, sir, we may make holiday, so that we can rejoice in Caesar's name. Yes.
Wherefore rejoice? What conquest brings he home? Oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome, to towers and windows, yea, to chimney tops, your infants in your arms, and there have sat the livelong day to see great Pompey pass the streets of Rome. Do you now put on your best attire? And do you now cut out a holiday? And do you now strew flowers in his way that comes in triumph over Pompey's blood? Be gone. Go! Go! And for this fault, assemble all poor men of your sort. Draw them to Tiber banks and weep your tears into the channel, till the lowest streams do kiss the most exalted shores of all. See whether their basest metals be not moved. They vanish tongue-tied in their guiltiness. This way will I disrobe the images if I do find them decked with ceremonies.
Calpurnia!
Peace, ho! Caesar speaks!
Calpurnia!
Here, my lord.
Stand you directly in Antonius' way when he doth run his course. Antonius! Aye, Caesar. Forget not in your speed, Antonius, to touch Calpurnia, for our elders say, the baron, touched in this holy chase, shake off their sterile curse. I shall remember when Caesar says do it, it is performed. Set on, and leave no ceremony out.
Caesar!
Huh? Who calls?
Bid every noise be still. He's yet again.
I hear a voice, shriller than all the music, cries Caesar. Speak again. Caesar is turned to listen.
Beware the Ides of March!
Who is that person?
A Soothsayer bids you beware the Ides of March.
Set her before me. Let me see her face.
Oh, fellow, come from the throng. Look upon Caesar.
What sayest thou to me now? Speak once again.
Beware the Ides of March!
She's a dreamer. Let us leave her. Pass!
Will you go to see the order of the course?
Not I.
Oh, I pray you do.
I am not gamesome. I do lack some part of that quick spirit which is Antony. Let me not hinder your desires, Casca. I leave you.
Brutus, I observe you oft of late. I have not from your eye the gentleness and show of love as I was wont to have. You bear too stubborn and too strange a hand over your friends that love you.
Cassius, be not deceived if I veil my look. I turn the trouble of my countenance merely upon myself. Vexed I am of late with some passions of some difference.
Then, Brutus, have I much mistook your passion, by means whereof this breast of mine hath hidden thoughts of great value, worthy cogitations. Tell me, Brutus, can you see your face?
No, Cassius, for the eye sees not itself, but by reflection by some other thing.
'Tis just, and 'tis very much lamented that you have no such glass as may turn your hidden worthiness unto yourself, that you might see your shadow. I've heard where many of the best respect in Rome, except immortal Caesar, speaking of Brutus and groaning underneath this age's yoke, have wished that noble Brutus had her eyes.
Into what dangers would you lead me, Cassius, that you'd have me look into myself for which is not in me?
Therefore, Brutus, be prepared to hear. And since you know you cannot see yourself so well as in reflection, I, your glass, will modestly discover to yourself that of yourself which you yet know not of.
What means this shouting? I do fear the people have chosen Caesar for their king.
Aye. Do you fear it? Then methinks you would not have it so.
Cassius, I would not, yet I love him well. But wherefore do you hold me here so long? What is it that you impart to me? If it be aught toward the general good, set honor in one eye and death in the other, and I will look at both indifferently. So speed me as I love the name of honor more than I fear death itself.
I know that virtue to be in you, as well as I do know your outward favor. Well, honor is the subject of my story. I was born as well as Caesar. So were you. We both fed as well, and we can both bear the winter's cold as well as he. For once, upon a raw and gusty day, the troubled Tiber chafing at its shores, Caesar said to me, "Darest thou, Cassius, jump with me into the angry flood and swim to yonder point?" Upon the word, accoutred as I was, I plunged in and bade him follow. So indeed he did. The torrent roared, and we did buffet it with lusty sinews, tossing it aside and stemming it with hearts of controversy. But ere we could reach the point proposed, Caesar cried, "Help me, Cassius, or I sink!" So, as Aeneas, our great ancestor, did from the flames of Troy upon his shoulder the old Anchises bear, so from waves of Tiber did I, the tired Caesar. And this man has become a god. And Cassius is a wretched creature who must bend his body when Caesar carelessly but nod. He had a fever when he was in Spain, and when the fit was on him, I did mark how he did quake. 'Tis true, the god did quake. His coward lips did from their color flee, and that same eye, whose bent doth awe the world, did lose its luster. Oh, I heard him groan, and that voice that bade the Romans mark him write his speeches in their books. Alas, it cried, give me some drink, Titinius, like a sick girl. Ye gods, doth amaze me that a man of such a feeble temper should so get the start in the majestic world and bear the palm alone.
Another general shout. I do believe these applause as if some new honors heaped on Caesar.
Why, man, he doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus, and we, petty men, walk between his huge legs and peep about to find ourselves dishonorable graves. Men sometimes are masters of their fate. The fault, Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, if we are underlings. Caesar and Brutus. What should be in that Caesar? Why should that name be sounded more than yours? In the name of all the gods at once, upon what meat does this our Caesar feed that he's grown so great? Age, thou art shamed. Rome, thou hast lost the breed of noble bloods. Aye, you and I have heard our fathers say, there was a Brutus once in Rome that would have brooked the eternal devil to keep his state as easily as a king.
That you do love me, I am nothing jealous. What you have had to say, I will consider. What you say, I will find time with patience to hear and to listen to that again. But in the meantime, chew on this. Brutus had rather be a villager than to repute herself a daughter of Rome under these hard conditions that this time is like to lay upon us.
Well, I'm pleased that my weak words have struck but this much show of fire from Brutus.
The games are done and Caesar's returning.
When the Casca by her sleeve, and she will, after her sour fashion, tell us what is the receded noble note today.
But look you there. The angry spot doth glow on Caesar's brow, and all the rest look like a chidden train.
Casca will tell us what the matter is.
Antonius! Caesar! Let me have men about me that are fat, sleek-headed men, and such as sleep over nights. Yon Cassius has a lean and hungry look. He reads too much. Such men are dangerous.
Fear him not, Caesar. He is not dangerous. He is a noble Roman and well given. Would he were fatter.
Still I fear him not. Though, if my name were liable to fear, I do not know the man I should avoid so soon as that spare Cassius. He thinks much, he's a great observer, and he sees quite through the deeds of men. He loves no plays as thou dost, Antony. He hears no music. He seldom smiles, and smiles in such a sort as though he mocked himself and scorned his spirit that could be moved to smile at anything. Such men as he be never at heart's ease while they behold a greater than themselves, and therefore are they very dangerous. I rather tell thee what is to be feared than what I fear, for always I'm Caesar. Come on, my right hand, for this ear is deaf, and tell me truly what thou thinkst of him.
You pulled me by the sleeve. Would you speak with me?
Aye, Casca, tell us what it chanced today that Caesar looks so sad.
Why, you were with him, were you not?
I should not then ask Casca what it chanced.
Why, there was a crown offered him, and he put it by with the back of his hand, thus. The people fell shouting.
What was the second noise for?
Oh, why, for that too.
They shouted thrice. What was the third cry for?
Why, for that too.
The crown was offered him thrice.
Aye, marry, wast. And he put it by thrice, each time gentler than the other. And at every putting by, mine honest neighbors shouted.
Who offered the crown?
Why, Antony.
Tell us the manner of it, gentle Casca.
Oh,
I could be as well hanged as tell the manner of it. It was mere foolery. I did not mark it. I saw Mark Antony offer him a crown. Yet 'twas not a crown neither. 'Twas one of these, coronets. And as I told you, he put it by once. But for all that, to my thinking, he fain would have had it. And he put it by again. And to my thinking, he was very loath to lay his fingers off it. And then he offered him a third time put it by. And even as Caesar refused it, the rabblement hooted and clapped their chapped hands and threw up their sweaty nightcaps and uttered such a deal of stinking breath that Caesar had refused the crown, that Caesar almost choked on it, for he swooned and fell down at it. I durst not laugh for fear of opening my lips and receiving some of the bad air. Oh. And so he fell down. And when he came to himself again, he said, "If I have done or said anything amiss, I desire my worships to think it was my infirmity." 3 or 4 wenches where I stood cried out, "Oh, love! Oh, poor soul!" And they forgave him with all their heart. But there's no heed to be taken in them. If Caesar had stabbed their mothers, they'd have done no less.
And then after that, he came the sad way?
Did Cicero say anything?
He spoke Greek.
To what effect?
Nay, and I tell you that I'll ne'er show my face again. But those who understood him smiled and shook their heads. But for my part, it was Greek to me. I could tell you more news, too. Flavius and Marulus, for tearing scars off Caesar's images. Very well. There was more foolery yet if I could remember it.
Well, you sup with me tonight, Casca.
I know, I promised for.
Oh, will you dine with me tomorrow?
Aye, if I be alive, and your mind hold and your dinner worth the eating.
Well, I'll wait for you.
Do so. Farewell, both.
What a blunt fellow.
So is she, in execution of any bold or noble enterprise, however she puts on this tardy form. Her rudeness is but a sauce to her good wit, which gives men stomach to digest her words with better appetite.
And so it is. I will leave you now. Tomorrow, if you please to speak with me, I will come home to you, or if you will, come home to me and I will wait for you.
I will. Till then, think of the world. Well, Brutus, thou art noble, and yet I see thy honorable metal may be bent from that it is disposed. Therefore 'tis meet that noble minds keep ever with their likes, for who's so firm that cannot be seduced? Caesar doth bear me hard, but he loves Brutus. If I were Brutus now, and she were Cassius, it would not humor me. I will this night, in several hands, in at her window throw, as if they came from several citizens, writings, all tending to the great opinion Rome has of her name, wherein obscurely Caesar's ambition shall be glanced at. That done, let Caesar seat him sure, for we'll shake him, or worse days endure. by your voice.
Your ear is good. Cassius, what night is this?
Oh, a very pleasing night. So honest, then.
Whoever knew the heavens menace so?
Those who've known the earth so full of force. For my part, I've walked the streets, submitting myself into the perilous night. And when the cross-blue lightning seemed to open up the vault of heaven, I did present myself, even in the aim and very flattered.
But wherefore so much tempt the heavens? God, it is part of men to fear and tremble when most mighty gods do by token send such dreadful heralds to astonish us.
You're dull, Casca. And that spark of life that should be in a Roman, you do what? Or else you use not. You look pale and quake and put on fear and wonder to see the strange and beautiful man. Now could I name to thee a man most like into this perilous night, that thunders, lightens open graves, and roars as doth the lion in the Capitol? A man no greater than thyself or I in personal action, and yet prodigious grow, and fearful.
'Tis Caesar that you mean, is it not, Cassius?
Let it be who it is. For Romans now have thews and limbs like to their ancestors, but our fathers' minds are gone. We're governed with our mother's spirits. Our yoke and suffering show us woman.
Indeed. They say the senators mean today to crown Caesar as a king, and he shall wear his crown by sea and land and every place save here in Italy.
I know where I shall wear this dagger. Cassius from bondage will deliver Cassius. Therein, ye gods, ye make the weak most strong. Therein, ye gods, ye tyrants do defeat.
Aye, so every man in his hand bears the power to cancel his captivity.
Oh, wherefore should Caesar be a tyrant then? I know he were no wolf, but that he sees the Romans are but sheep. He were no lion, were not Romans hinds. But oh grief, perhaps I speak this before a willing bondsman, and then I know my answer must be made. But I am armed, and dangers are to me indifferent.
This is Casca! It is no man that is so fleering a telltale. Hold my head. We shall be factious in redress for these griefs, and I shall put my foot as far as who goes farthest.
Oh, there's a bargain made. Know you, Casca, I've moved already, so I'm certain of the noblest mind of Romans to undertake with me an enterprise of honorable, dangerous consequence. And I know by this, they stay for me at Pompey's porch.
Oh! Stand close a while, here comes one in haste!
Ah, it's Cinna. I know her by her gait. She's a friend. Cinna, where haste you so?
To find out you. Who's that, Simba?
Oh, it's Casca, one in corporatory attempt. Tell me, am I not stayed for?
I'm glad on it. 'Tis a frightful night. 2 or 3 of us have seen strange sights.
Am I not stayed for? Tell me.
Yes, you are. Oh, Cassius, if you could but win noble Brutus to our party.
Do you contend, good Cinna? Take this and lay it in the praetor's chair where he may find it, and throw this in at his window, paste this upon the statue of old Brutus. That done, come to Pompey's theater where you'll find us. Are Decius Brutus and Bronius there?
All but Simba, and he's gone to seek you at your house. Well, I will hie and bestow these papers as you bade me.
That done, repair to Pompey's theater. Come now, Casca. You and I will get here today and wait Brutus at her house. 3 parts of her are ours already, and she entire upon the next encounter yields her hour.
Ah, she sits high in all the people's hearts. That which would appear offense in us, her countenance, like rich alchemy, will turn to virtue and to worthiness.
She and her worth and our great need of her, you've right well conceded. Now come now. It's almost midnight, and we will awake her and be sure of her.
cannot by the progress of the stars give guess how near today. Lucius, I say. I would it were my fault to sleep so soundly. Lucius, awake, I say!
Called you, my lord?
Get me a taper and bring it to my study. When it is lightened, come and call me here.
I will, my lord.
It must be by his death. And for my part, I know no personal cause to spurn at him, but for the general. He must be crowned king, and how that might change his personal nature, there is the question. It is a bright day that brings forth the adder and craves weary walking. Crown him king, and then I grant we put a sting in him, and how he may do dangers with that.
The taper burneth in your closet, sir. Searching the window for a piece of flint, I found this paper thus sealed up, and I am sure it did not lie there when I went to bed.
Yet you spread again, it is not day. Is it not tomorrow, girl, the Ides of March?
I know not.
Check the calendar and bring me word.
I will, sir.
The exhalations whizzing in the air give me so much light that I may read by them. Brutus, thou sleepest, awake and see thyself. Shall Rome, etc., speak, strike, redress? Brutus, thou sleepest, awake. Such instigations have often been dropped where I took them up. Shall Rome, etc. Thus must I piece it out. Shall Rome stand under one man's awe? What Rome? My ancestors did from the streets of Rome, the Tarquin drive, when he was called a king. Speak, strike, redress. Am I entreated to speak and strike? Rome, I make thee promise, if the redress will follow, thou receivest thy full petition at the hand of Brutus.
Sir, March is wasted 15 days.
'Tis good. Go to the gate, somebody knocks. Since Cassius first wept me against Caesar, I have not slept. Between the acting of the interim and the first motion, all the interim is like a phantasma or a hideous dream.
Sir, 'tis your brother Cassius at the door, who doth desire to see you.
Is he alone?
No, sir. There is more with him.
Do you know them?
No, sir.
Their monstrous visage.
Clear. I fear we are too bold upon your rest. Tell me, Brutus, did we trouble you?
I have been up this hour awake all night. Know I these men that come along with you?
Aye, every one, and no one here but honors you, and every one doth wish you had but that opinion of yourself which every noble Roman has of you. This is Trebonius.
He's welcome hither.
This Casca, this sinner.
They are all welcome. What watchful cares do interpose themselves in betwixt your eyes and night?
Shall I entreat a word?
Aha! Here lies the east. Doth not the daybreak
shall confess that you are both deceived. Here, as I point my sword, the sun arises, being the fair way growing on the south wing, the youthful season of the year. Some 2 months hence, up higher towards the north, he first presents his fire, and the high east stands as the capital directly here.
Gather you all around. Give me your hand one by one.
And let us swear our resolution.
No, not an oath. If not for the face of men, the sufferance of our souls, the times of use. If these be motives weak, break off at times, and every man hence to his idle bed. And let high-sighted tyranny rage on, and let every man draw up by lottery. To think that our cause or performance did need an oath, when every drop of blood that every Roman bears, and nobly bears, is guilty of several capacity, if he shall break any promise that hath passed from him.
What of Cicero then? Shall we sound him? I think he'll stand very strongly with us.
Oh, let's not leave him out.
No, by no means.
Oh, let us have him, for his silver hairs will purchase us a good opinion, and by men's voices to commend our deeds.
It shall be said, his judgment ruled our hands. Our user while the shadow with the paper will be buried in his gravity.
Speak not of him, let us not break with him, for he will never follow anything that other men begin.
Let us leave him out.
Indeed. He is not fit.
Shall no man else be touched, but only Caesar?
Casca, well urged. I think it's not meet Mark Antony, so well beloved of Caesar, should outlive Caesar. For we'll find of him a shrewd contriver, and his means, if he expand them, may stretch so far as to annoy us all. Therefore, let Antony and Caesar fall together.
Yeah! This shall make our purpose too bloody, Cassius. To cut off the head and hack the limbs like wrath and death and envy afterwards. Antony is but a limb of Caesar. So let us be sacrifices, not butchers, Caius. We all stand up against the spirit of Caesar, and in the spirit of man there is no blood. Oh, how we could come by Caesar's spirit and not dismember Caesar, but alas, he must bleed for it. And so, gentlemen, let's kill him boldly, but not wrathfully. And this shall help our purpose to make it seem necessary and not envious, so appearing to the common eyes. And think not of Mark Antony, for he can do no more than Caesar's arm when Caesar's head is cut off.
And yet I fear him, for in engrafted love he
No,
bears
do
to
not,
Caesar.
alas, Cassius, do not think of him. He can do no more to Caesar than when his head is cut off, no.
There is no fear in him. Let him not die, for he will live and laugh at this hereafter.
Please count the clock.
Clock stricken 3.
'Tis time to part.
And yet 'tis doubtful whether Caesar will come forth today or no. For he's superstitious growing of late, and maybe these apparent prodigies, the unaccustomed terror of this night, and the persuasion of his augurs keep him from the capital tomorrow.
Never fear that. If he be so resolved, I can oversway him. Let me work, and I will bring him to the capital.
Nay, will all of us go together to fetch him?
The 8th hour is at the uttermost.
Be that the uttermost and fail not then.
Now, Brutus will leave you. And friends, disperse yourselves. But remember what you've said tonight and show yourselves true Romans.
Good gentlemen, let us look fresh and merrily, let not our looks put on our purposes, but bear it as our Roman actors do, with untied spirits and formal constancy. And so, good morrow to everyone.
nor heaven nor earth have been at peace tonight. Thrice have you cried out in your sleep, help, ho, they murder Caesar. Who's within?
My lord?
Go bid the priest to present sacrifice, and bring me their opinions of success.
I will, my lord.
What mean you, Caesar? Think you to go forth? You shall not stir out of your house today.
Caesar shall forth. That threaten me never looked but on my back. When they shall see the face of Caesar, they're vanished.
Caesar, I never stood on ceremonies, but now they frighten me. There is one within, besides the things that we have heard and seen, recounts most horrid sights seen by the watch. A lioness hath whelped in the streets, and graves have yawned and yielded up their dead. Fiery, fierce warriors fought upon the clouds, in rank and squadron and right form of war, with drizzled blood upon the Capitol. The noise of battle hurtled in the deep. Horses did neigh, dying men did groan, and ghosts did shriek and squeal throughout the streets. Oh, Caesar, these things are beyond all use, and they do frighten me.
Well, what can be avoided whose ends are purposed by the mighty gods? These predictions are to the world in general as to Caesar.
When beggars die, there are no comets seen. The heavens themselves blaze forth the death of princes.
Cowards die many times before their death. The valiant never taste of death but once. Of all the things I yet have heard, it seems to me most strange that men should fear, seeing that death, a necessary end, will come when it will come. What say the augurers?
They would not have you stir forth today. Plucking the entrails of an offering forth, they could not find a heart within the beast.
The gods do this in shame of cowardice. Caesar should be a beast without a heart if he should stay at home today for fear. No, he shall not. Danger knows full well that Caesar's more dangerous than he. Ah, we're two lions littered on the same day, and I the elder and more terrible. And Caesar shall go forth.
Oh, my lord, your wisdom is consumed in confidence. Do not go forth today. Call it my fear that keeps you in the house and not your own. I'll send Mark Antony to the Senate house, and he shall say that you are not well. Let me, upon my knee, prevail in this.
Mark Antony shall say I am not well, and for thy humor I shall stay at home today. Ah, here comes Casca. She shall tell him so.
Caesar! All hail, most mighty Caesar! I have come to fetch you to the Senate house.
Good morrow, Casca, and you're come in very happy time to bear my greetings to the senators and tell them that I will not come today. Cannot is false, and dare not is falser. Caesar will not come today. Tell them so, Casca.
Say he is sick.
Shall Caesar send a lie? Have I in conquest stretched out my hand so far to be afraid to tell graybeards the truth? I will not come today, Casca. Tell them so.
Oh, most mighty Caesar, give me some cause, lest I be laughed at when I tell them so.
The cause is in my will! I will not come, and that is enough to satisfy the Senate! But for your private satisfaction, Casca, because I love you, I shall tell you why. Calpurnia here, my wife, stays me at home, for tonight she has dreamt that she did see my statue, which, like a fountain with 100 spouts, did run pure blood, and many lusty Romans did come and bathe their hands in it. And these does she apply as portents and omens and evils imminent, and therefore she stays me at home.
This dream is all misinterpreted. It is a vision fair and fortunate, that your statue spouted blood in many pipes signifies that from you Rome shall suck reviving blood, and that and shall press for tinctures, stains, relics, and cognizance. By this Calpurnia's dream is signified.
And well have you expounded it.
I have. And know it now as I have told you. The senators mean today to give Caesar a crown. If I should tell them you will not come, will they not change their minds? Besides, it's a render, it's a mock act to be rendered for someone to break up the Senate and say, oh, break up the Senate until Caesar's wife will meet with better dreams. If Caesar hide himself, will they not whisper, no, Caesar is afraid. Oh, pardon me, Caesar, for it is my dear, dear love to our proceeding that bids me tell you this. And reason to my love is liable.
How foolish do your fears seem now, Calpurnia? I'm ashamed to have yielded to them. Go get me my coat, for I shall go today. Here comes Cinna to fetch me to the Senate house.
Good morrow, Caesar.
Good morrow, Cinna. Brutus, are you stirred forth so early too? Trebonius! Caesar was never so much your enemy as that ague which hath made you lean. What is the clock?
Caesar's has stricken 8.
Thank you for your pains and courtesies. Antony, who revels long o'er nights, is notwithstanding up. Good morrow, Antony.
So to you, Caesar.
Go bid them prepare within. I am to blame to be thus waited on. What, Cinna? What, Brutus? Trebonius, I have an hour's talk in store for you today. Be near me, so that I might remember you.
Caesar, I will. So near will I be that his best friends shall wish I had been further.
Good friends, go in with me and taste some wine, and then we, like friends, will straightway go together.
But every life is not the same. Oh, Caesar, the heart of Brutus yearns to think upon.
Here the street is narrow. The throng that follows Caesar at the heels, senators, of praetors, of common suitors, shall crowd a feeble man almost to death. I'll get me to a place more void, and there speak to great Caesar as he comes along.
The Ides of March have come.
Aye, Caesar, but not gone.
Hail Caesar! Read this schedule.
Cinna doth desire you to read at your best leisure this her humble suit.
What? Urge you your petitions in the streets? Come to the capital.
I wish today your enterprises be well.
What enterprise?
Farewell.
Oh, what said Pompilius Lena?
She wished that our enterprise might thrive. I fear we're undiscovered.
Look how she makes to Caesar mock her.
Casca be summoned, for we fear prevention. Brutus, what shall be done? If this be known, nor Cassius nor Caesar will e'er go forth, for I will slay myself.
Cassius, be constant. Pompilius Lena speaks not of our purposes, but look as she smiles. Caesar doth not change.
Trebonius knows his time, for look you, he draws Mark Antony out of the way.
Where's Cinna? Presently let her prefer her suit to Caesar.
She is addressed. Press near and second her.
Casca, you are the first that raised your hand.
Are we all ready? What is now amiss that Caesar and his Senate must redress?
Most high, most mighty, most puissant Caesar, Senate throws before thy seat an humble heart.
I must prevent thee, Cinna, these couchings and these low courtesies might fire the blood of ordinary men, and turn preordinance and first decree into the law of children. Thy brother by decree is banished. If thou do bend and fawn and pray for him, I spur thee like a cur out of my way.
Is there no man more worthy than myself to speak more sweetly in great Caesar's ear for the repealing of my banished brother?
I kiss thy hand, but not in flattery, desiring thee that Publicember may have an immediate freedom of repeal.
Why, Brutus!
Pardon, Caesar, Caesar, pardon. As lowest to thy feet doth Cassius fall to beg enfranchisement for Publicember.
I could be well moved if I were as you. I would pray to move if prayers could move me. But I am as constant as the northern star, of whose true fixed and resting quality there is no fellow in the firmament. And that I am as he, let me show it a little, even in this, that I am constant, Cimber should be banished, and constant do I remain to keep him so.
Oh, Caesar!
Hence, wilt thou lift up Olympus?
Great Caesar!
What, doth Brutus bootless kneel?
Speak, hands for me!
And two, Brute?
Liberty! Freedom! Tyranny is dead! Run! Cry forth! Proclaim about in the streets!
Come to the common pulpits and cry out, liberty, freedom, and enfranchisement.
People, senators, be not affrighted. Fly not, stand still. Ambition's debt is paid.
Brutus, come to the pulpit!
I will do so, and let no man abide this deed but we the doers.
Where is Antony?
Fled to his house amazed. Men, wives, and children stare, run, cry out about it in the streets, as if it were doomsday.
Faith, we know your pleasures. We shall die. We know 'tis for the time and drawing days out that men stand upon.
Why, he that cuts off 20 years of life cuts off so many years of fearing death.
Grant that is then death a benefit. So are we Caesar's friends who have reached his time in fearing of death. Stoop, Reuben, stoop. Let us bathe our hands in Caesar's blood up to our elbows and besmear our swords. Let us raise our hands over our heads and cry out, peace, freedom, liberty!
Stoop then, and wash. How many ages hence shall this our lofty scene be acted o'er in states unbored and accents yet unknown?
How many times will Caesar bleed in sport, and now on Pompey's ground lies along no worthier than the dust?
So oft as that shall be, so oft shall the not of us be called the men that gave our country liberty.
What, shall we forth?
Aye, every man away. Brutus shall lead, and the knot of us shall follow after, who with the boldest and best hearts of her own.
Here comes Antony. Welcome, Mark Antony.
Oh, mighty Caesar, dost thou lie so low? Are all thy glories, conquests, triumphs, spoils reduced to this little measure? Fare thee well. I know not, gentlemen, what you intend. Who else must be let blood? Who else is rank? If I myself, I will think of no hour so fit as Caesar's death hour, nor no instruments of half that worth as those your swords, made rich with the most noble blood that ever lived. I do beseech you, now whilst your purple hands do wink and smoke, fulfill your pleasure. Live 1,000 years, I will not find myself so apt to die. No lace will please me so, no meat of death is here by Caesar, and by you cut off, the choice and master spirits of this age.
Antony, I beg you not to have death of us, although we may appear bloody and cruel as by our hands and our hurt acts. But you see not our hearts, for our hearts are pitiful, and pity for the general wrong of Rome hath done this deed on Caesar.
I do not doubt your wisdom. Let every man render me his bloody hand. First, Marcus Brutus. I will shake with you. Next, Caius Cassius. I will take your hand. Then Cinna. Yours. And valiant Casca. Yours. The last, not last in love, yours, good Trebonius. Gentlemen, all, alas, I know not what to say. My credit now stands on such slippery ground that either one of two bad ways you must concede. Either as a flatterer or as a coward. That I did love Caesar. Oh, 'tis true. If thy spirit look upon us now, will it not grieve thee dearer than thy death to see thy Antony shaking the bloody foes? Most noble in the presence of thy corse. If I had many eyes as thou hast wounds, bleeding as force, as they spew forth thy blood, will it not conceit me better than to close in terms of friendship with thine enemy?
Mark Antony.
Pardon me, Caius Cassius. The enemies of Caesar would say this, but in a friend it is cold modesty.
Oh, I blame you not for praising Caesar so. But tell me, what compact mean you to have with us? Will you be pricked within the number of our friends? Or shall we on and not count on you?
Therefore did I take your hands, but was indeed swayed from the point by looking down at Caesar. Friends, am I with you all, and do love you all. But upon that hope that you might give me some reason why and wherein Caesar was dangerous.
We have all good reason that were you, Antony, the son of Caesar, you would be satisfied.
That is all I seek. And am moreover suitor that I may bear his body to the marketplace, and as becomes a friend, speak at the order of his funeral.
You shall, Mark Antony.
Brutus, a word. You know not what you do. Do not consent that he should speak at Caesar's funeral, for you know not how the crowd may be moved by what he will utter.
I beg your pardon. I will into the pulpit first, then speak our reason of Caesar's death, and then what Antony speaks I will protest he does by leave and by permission.
I know not what will fall. I like it not.
Antony, here, take you Caesar's body. In your funeral speech, you will not blame us, but you will speak all good you can devise on Caesar, else not, you shall not be part of the funeral.
Be it so. I do desire no more.
Prepare the body and follow us.
Pardon me, thy bleeding piece of flesh, but you are meek and gentle with these butchers. Thou art the most noble man that ever lived in the tide of times. Woe to the hand that shed this costly blood. Now o'er thy wounds do I prophesy, which like dumb vows do beg, the voice and utterance of thy tongue, a curse, shall light upon the limbs of men.
Blood and destruction shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar that mothers shall but smile when behold their infants quartered at the hands of war, all pity choked by the custom of fell deeds. And Caesar's spirit, raging for revenge, with Ate by his side come up from hell, shall be
We will be satisfied! Let us be satisfied!
I will hear Brutus speak!
Silence, let her speak. Romans, countrymen, lovers, hear me for my cause and be silent that you may hear. Believe me in mine honor, and respect mine honor, that you may believe. Censor me in your wisdom, and awaken your senses so you can be better judge. How many of you, any people here in this assembly, any friends of Caesar, I will tell you, Antony's love for Caesar was no less than yours. And if you then say, Brutus then took him down, I will tell you this. I loved Caesar, but I loved Rome more. Would you prefer that Caesar were alive and all die slaves, or that with Caesar dead and live all free men? As Caesar did love me, I weep. As he was fortunate, I rejoice him. As he was valiant, I honor him. But as he was ambitious, I slew him!
Yes!
There are tears for his love, and joy for his fortune, and honor for his valor, and death for his ambition. Who here is so base that would be a bondman? If any, speak, for him I have offended. Who here is so rude that would not be a Roman? If any speak, for him I have offended. None. If any be so vile that would not love his country, if any speak, for him I have offended.
No one man.
Then none have I offended. Here lies Caesar's body, mourned by Mark Antony, who though owed no hand in his death, shall receive the benefit of his dying at the place of the Commonwealth. And now I must depart. And though I slew my best lover for the sake of Rome, I have the same dagger for myself, if it so please my country! No, Brutus, no! Live! Countrymen, let me leave alone, and for my sake stay here with Antony. To grace Caesar's corpse, and grace the speech tending to his glories that Mark Antony, by our permission, shall say. And I do entreat, let no man leave, say I alone, till Antony have spoken.
Stay. Oh, I will hear Mark Antony.
Yeah, Mark can tell me. God, that Caesar was a tyrant. Give Brutus a statue of our ancestors.
Make her Caesar.
For Brutus' sake, I am beholding to you.
What does he say of Brutus? He said for Brutus' sake he is beholding to us all.
Twere best he speak no ill of Brutus here.
You gentle Romans, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him.
The evil that men do, live after them. The good is often interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus had told you that Caesar was ambitious.
He was?
Yeah.
Well, if it were so, it were to a grievous fault, and grievously has Caesar answered it. Under the leave of Brutus and the others, for Brutus is an honorable man. So are they all honorable men. I come to speak at Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose coffers did the general coffers fill. Is this ambition? That the poor hath cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. You all did see at the Lupercal I thrice did offer him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Is this ambition?
No.
Yet Brutus says he was ambitious. And sure, Brutus is an honorable man. I do not speak to disprove what Brutus spoke, but I'm here to tell you that which you do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? Judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, that these men have lost all reason. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause a moment till it come back to me.
Methinks there is much reason in his sayings.
If you consider the rightly of the matter, Caesar must have had one.
Marked ye his words. Caesar refused the crown, therefore 'tis certain he was not ambitious.
Yeah, but I fear a worse one would come in his place.
Poor soul. His eyes are red as fire with weeping.
Oh, there is a much nobler man than Antony.
Comes to speak.
Return, I will give.
But yesterday, Caesar's word would have stood against the world. Now lies he there, with none so poor to do him reverence. O masters, if I were so disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and revenge, well, I should do Brutus wrong. And Cassius wrong, who you all know are honorable men. No, I will not do them wrong. I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you, than I would wrong such honorable men. But here is a parchment under the seal of Caesar. I found it in his closet, and it is his will. Let the commons hear his testament.
Yes!
We'll hear it. Which, pardon me, I do not mean to read. There you go and Caesar's wounds. Dip your napkins in his sacred blood. I beg a hair of his for memory, and dying bequeath it unto your tissue.
The will! We want to hear the will!
'Tis not meet you to know how Caesar loved you. You are not wood, you are not stone,
but men, and being men, bearing the will of Caesar. It will inflame you. It will make you mad. 'Tis good that you know not that you are his heirs.
The will! Read us the will!
Compel me then to read the will? Then make a ring around the will of Caesar, and let me show you him that have made it. Will you give me leave, and shall I descend?
Come down!
Antony!
Make round. Anthony approaches.
If you have tears, prepare to shed them now. You all know this mantle. I remember the first time ever Caesar put it on. 'Twas the summer's night in his tent, the day he overcame the Nervii. Here ran Cassius's dagger through. Ooh, see what a rent the envious Casca made. And through this, the well-beloved Brutus stabbed.
Brutus.
And as she plucked her cursed dagger away, mark how Caesar's blood did follow it, as if rushing out of doors, to be resolved if Brutus so unkindly knocked. Or no, for you all know Brutus was Caesar's angel. Judge, O you gods, how dearly Caesar loved her. This was the most unkindest cut of all. For when the noble Caesar saw her stab, ingratitude, more strong than traitors' arms, quite vanquished him, then burst his mighty heart. And in this mantle, muffling up his face, even at the base of Pompey's statua, which all the while ran blood, great Caesar fell. And oh, what a fall was there, my countrymen. Then you, then I, then all of us fell. What bloody treason flourished over us. Oh, now you weep. And I sense you feel the dint of pity. These are gracious drops. What? Weep you when you but behold Caesar's vesture, wounded? Well, look you here. Here, himself, marred as you can see, by traitors.
Oh, piteous
Kill the traitors! Good friends, sweet friends, let me not stir you up to a sudden flood of mutiny. Those that have done this are honorable. What personal grievances they have that made them do this, alas, I know not what. But they are wise, and they are honorable, and will no doubt with reasons answer you. Let me not steal away your hearts. I am no orator as Brutus is. But as you know me all, a plain, blunt man that loves his friend, that they know full well that gave me public leave to speak of him. For I have neither wit, nor word, nor worth, action, nor utterance, nor the power of speech to stir men's blood. I only speak straight on, to tell you that which you do yourselves do know, to show you sweet Caesar's wounds, and bid them speak for me. Ah, but I were Brutus, Antony Brutus. There were an Antony that should ruffle up your spirits and put a tongue in every wound of Caesar, that should move the stones of Rome to rise and mutiny! Mutiny! Or burn the house of Brutus! Yet stay, countrymen, stay. Why? You go to do you know not what. Wherein has Caesar deserved your loves? Alas, you know not. I should tell you then. You forgot the will.
The will!
Here is the will, under the seal of Caesar. There it is. To every Roman citizen he gives, to every several man, 75 drachmas. Yet hear me with patience. Moreover, he hath left you all his walks, his private arbors and newly planted orchards on this side of Tiber. He hath left them you and your heirs forever. Common pleasures for you to walk abroad and recreate yourselves. Here was a Caesar. When come another?
Away! We'll burn his body in the holy place, then take up the brands, and with them fire the houses of the conspirators!
Tear the windows down!
Now, let it work. Mischief, thou art afoot. Take thou what course thou wilt.